What's going on, good people? This is the Common Man Nate Lewis back with a brand new common take. Today is September 17th, 2018, Common Man Podcast.weebly.com, and there is a lot to get into. I don't have that much time, so quickly, we're going to go over the review for WWE Hell in a Cell 2018, and then on the UFC side, we will talk about a story that I wanted to talk about for the last week or two here, and we'll finally get a chance to discuss that. But first, Hell in a Cell. Now, this pay per view, it's kind of gotten thrown into a little bit of the back burner, except for that it was the first in a line of shows that WWE has coming up between the Hell in a Cell show, the Super Showdown show in Melbourne, Australia, the WWE Women's Evolution pay per view, and then the Saudi Arabia show, all taking place roughly within a couple of weeks of each other. So, as much as in the last 2 weeks or so, we've been told this match is taking place at Hell in a Cell. We've also been setting up matches for those other shows as well. So this kind of feels like a mess of shows that we're building towards. And so this was the first step. Now, when I found out the show was this weekend, maybe a couple of days ago, my first thought was, okay, I know two of the matches for sure. Actually, I knew three of the matches for sure. But it didn't feel like we were going to get any kind of finality to any of those matches because the Melbourne show appeared to be kind of like the ending destination with that large crowd that we have coming up for that show. So I kind of expected some fuckery with some of these finishes, and that's kind of what we got. But I have to say, overall, I really enjoyed Hell in a Cell. I thought some of the matches were very, very good. And although we got a couple of wonky finishes, a couple of clunky finishes, overall I did enjoy the show. And we'll get more into that, starting with this review, with the pre-show, New Day versus Rusev Day. And the first thing I'll say about this is I kind of noted in the group thread that the New Day main event in SmackDown, winning the tag team titles not all that long ago against the Bludgeon Brothers. This, make sure I say it with the same enthusiasm as said on television. This series of matches to get a championship opportunity against the New Day. That's going on for a couple of weeks now. And New Day's been out there on commentary, so there's been some build to this. And so it was a little surprising to me that we had this take place on the pre-show. But nonetheless, we had the match. The match was a lot of fun, as most New Day matches are. Rusev looked great. Aiden got a lot here in the matchup itself. Kind of broke down. They announcers and through the replays pointed out what was the turning point in the match. Rusev was going for a diving headbutt. Aiden tagged himself in. Not so much a blind tag, but Rusev was not expecting it. There was a little breakdown of communication. Rusev missed his dive. Aiden hit his miniature frog splash. There was some clusters, some confusion. Rusev was tossed to the outside. Aiden got hit off the ropes. Kofi hit the Trouble in Paradise for the win. New Day still your tag team champions, and some dissension teased within Rusev Day. Like I said, the match was fun. A lot of fun to watch. One of those matches where if I got a little bit more time, I thought it would have been really great. But nonetheless, the match was very, very good. Sucks that it was on the pre-show, but as we saw later on, even though there was a 4-hour window for the pay-per-view, WWE went home way sooner than that, which I am very much thankful for. So opening up the pay-per-view in the red Hell in a Cell, Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy in a match I did not personally care about. I was given no reason to care about this other than Orton sticking his finger in Hardy's gauge, and I don't need to see that. The first time I saw him do it, I was grossed out. My wife, who's in the nursing field, didn't think it was that big a deal. And in theory, it isn't. Just the visual of it is fucked to me. But other than that, we were told basically the reason we were given this match in Hell in a Cell is because Jeff Hardy wanted to do it before he retired. So, I mean, yeah, it's one of the flimsiest of reasons, but I mean, at least we got a reason. And the match itself was good. I wouldn't say I was blown away by it at all. I've seen Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy for the better part of, it feels like 12 years now. So there's nothing really new added. They use ladders, they use chairs, they use belts, including Randy Orton getting whacked with Jeff Hardy's belt on the spike side, and fucking just his back looked disgusting. There was a spot, I believe this was the senton spot where, or the swanton spot, when Jeff put the chair over Randy Orton and hit the swanton, that Orton all of a sudden was missing a chunk of meat off his leg, which was fucking gross. And to me, that was the scene when I saw it, I was just like, ooh, okay, yeah, I'm good on this. But that was preceded by Randy Orton putting a screwdriver to Jeff's fucking gauge and twisting it. I turned away that whole part. I'm sorry, I don't need to see that. My wife didn't think it was that big a deal. My son just thought it was weird, but I don't ever. Just leave the gauge alone. I'm sorry. And for me personally, I'm not saying that WWE needs to stop doing it because I'm a little queasy on it, and some other fans are, obviously, if you go online, but I just don't need to see that again. Match broke down. Hardy puts Orton onto a table, stacks up two ladders, directly lined up with it, climbs up to the smaller ladder. Looks like he's going to do the kind of springboard leg drop. Changes his mind on that, goes to the taller ladder. And at that point, I'm like, well, he's not jumping off of that because anything he does, if he does any type of flip, he's hitting that cage. So he then begins to basically monkey bar across the cell here. Goes over to Orton. He's just swinging and swinging. And the camera does a good job of just keeping an eye on Jeff. Apparently, if you were there live, you saw Orton get off this table well ahead of time. Hardy's up there and he's trying to kind of get enough momentum to take the spot that he does. I don't think he quite got enough, but he goes tumbling down right through the table, head, neck, and chest first. Looked horrifying. The referee calls for the medics, and there's been a lot said about this. I will tell you exactly what I said when this happened. So the ref has the cell raised. He's calling for a medic, and Orton goes for a pin, and the referee goes, he's hurt. And I went, why the fuck does it matter? Count the pin. If you're going to stop the match either way, Orton's the winner. Orton's going for a pin, so just fucking count. But this referee decides that I have morals and principles, and so this man is clearly hurt. You might do more damage by laying on top of him for 3 seconds, even though you're currently laying on top of him now for 3 seconds. So why not just count the pin? So this goes on for a few seconds, and finally the referee does a quicker count. Orton gets the win. Medics come out. Jeff Hardy's carted off, and that we have it. Like I said, good match. Not going to put it... if I had to give this a rating, I actually thought because of the ending of this match, I gave it an I match rating. Wasn't anything too special. The earlobe twist is something everyone's going to talk about. The chunk of meat that Orton is missing off his leg, he put that up on Instagram. That's fucking disgusting. And then I wasn't a big fan of the finish. Overall, the match was fine. Now, up next, we had a match I didn't get the chance to see too much of. I was in the middle of dinner, and that's one of the reasons why this review is going to be a lot shorter. I just didn't have a lot of time to sit and watch each and every match. But Charlotte versus Becky Lynch for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. From what I saw, the match looked fine. I've heard others say that there was a lot of botches. Don't know why I got tongue-tied saying that. But from what I saw, the match looked good. Becky was clearly still a babyface to this crowd here in San Antonio. I was waiting for a pop. Charlotte was, and I wouldn't say Charlotte was booed, but what I found funny was there was a lot of reports of security taking I boo the woo signs. Even through that, though, you didn't get a lot of Charlotte really being booed. The finish was Charlotte going for a spear, Becky rolling out of the way, and getting the cover. 1, 2, 3. Becky Lynch is your new SmackDown Women's Champion. The crowd popped huge. I was kind of shocked. I didn't think they would go with this so soon. I thought this would be something for the a SmackDown right after the Women's Evolution pay-per-view. I think we would do it at that time. But pleasant surprise. The crowd was happy. I was very, very much happy. After the match, Becky's celebrating. Charlotte, playing the sympathetic babyface, is upset, but looks to at least be content with the fact that, hey, I might not like this chick, but she was my friend. So she goes for an embrace. Becky throws the title in her face, holding it over her head, basically pays you a big fuck you and walks off. Now, I don't know what other people were hearing from other shows, but to me, this kind of got a small pop, not a huge pop, and it wasn't a lot of boos. It got a pop, and Becky walks up the ramp. To me, from what I can see, he'll move. To people like me who has followed this story, they have told from the first week that Becky got on her win streak on SmackDown. Becky is still the babyface. I'm sorry. Look, everybody's talked about everything with Becky Lynch and SummerSlam and the way that all came about. So I'm not going to dive back into that. But just if you continue that storyline until now, Becky then beat Charlotte, hopped out of her shadow, and did it clean. Charlotte is a dick. So why, if you're Becky Lynch, would you shake her hand? You had to delay this moment. This is your moment. And it got delayed because your friend was a dick. And now your friend is trying to steal your spotlight again and being a dick. So no, you don't get my embrace. This is my moment. Stop being a dick. Thank you very much. Now, I read on a lot of my Twitter feed and in a group thread I was in, people were still saying, WWE's trying to get so much sympathy on Charlotte Flair, we don't care. Look. Excuse all the dick references I just made in regards to Charlotte. I actually do feel bad for Charlotte. It's the way it's not the booking of this feud, it's the WWE's interpretation of the story that they told that put Charlotte in a really bad position. Charlotte is not someone we should be booing. She's not really a heel. She's done some dick-ish things. But if you're on her side of it, she's really done nothing wrong either. It's bad circumstances. So Charlotte's still a babyface. Becky is definitely a babyface in this. Was interpreted wrong, but there's a chance to correct this. And things, I think, going forward with Becky Lynch should be interesting and can be interesting, and we will see where they go from there. I have no doubts they will continue to fuck this up. They will continue to almost one of the things, and we've heard the Stone Cold Steve, you've heard the Stone Cold Steve Austin comparisons when it comes to Becky Lynch. I think they will still find a way to fuck up that line. They will continue to fuck up a way to interpret her as a heel, and will continue to fuck up booking her as a babyface. But she's the champion now. She deserves to be the champion, and we'll see where they go from there. Oh, by the way, that match, good match. Up next, we had the Raw Tag Team Championship match. Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. This was the best match of the night. And this is one of those matches where it got going and it was so back and forth that it kind of, don't take this the wrong way, I still think this is the best match of the night, but it was so back and forth it didn't seem like it was going anywhere. And so that part kind of bored me at the beginning. But the match picked up. There was a shit ton of fucking moves, reversals, spot after spot after spot down. Seth is going for the Falcon Arrow on Dolph Ziggler. Hits the suplex, is going for the Falcon Arrow. Drew comes flying in, Claymore kick, perfect time, and Dolph lands on top, gets the 1-2-3. Like I said, this was the best match of the night, and I'm not giving it really any justice here in this review, but I thought the match was solid. I love the storytelling as far as, yeah, Seth and Dean were going after being tag team champions too. And Seth is already the Intercontinental Champion. They didn't quite get this one, but this will again lead to the Australia show also with the Shield taking on Drew and Dolph and Braun Strowman. So we'll get some finality with the next show. I thought this was solid and there was no need to change the titles again so quickly. Love the match. Best match of show. Best match of the night. Clearly, and it's not even close. Except the next match. I'm a little torn on this. Next we had AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe for the WWE Championship. They replayed the Joe storybook tale he told on SmackDown, which the first time I saw it I thought was very well done. I didn't think I needed to see it again right before this match, not in its entirety. Wasn't even a video package. It was basically they tied in the video package with this story, which kind of took away from the fact that it was so cool the first time I saw it, and the second time it kind of came across as corny. But the match itself, look, these two can wrestle each other fucking every day of the week. There will be some things changed, and it'll be just enough for the match to be good. This match I thought was a borderline great. Borderline great to good. I think what took me away from this match was the crowd, and that really sucks. Because if it wasn't for the fact the crowd was so dead at the beginning of this, coming off that last match, I think this is easily a great, and we're pushing towards excellent. Especially when we get to talking about the finish, which we'll get to right now. So AJ's going for the phenomenal elbow, which by the way, somewhere in here he got busted open. He's just gonna be that guy who's just gonna get busted open in every match he's in. That's just how it's gonna be. So he goes for the phenomenal elbow. Samoa Joe counters, hits him in a Kakita clutch, takes him down to the ground, or starts to get him down to the ground. AJ does the Bret Hart spot, rolls over his body, has his shoulders down. 1, 2, 3. And when the pinfall happened, I said, well, cool. AJ's title reign is continuing. He's established himself as a dominant champion. I'd like to see where they go with this, because you almost feel like this feud should have another match, but it doesn't necessarily need it, especially with the stipulations with Miz and Daniel Bryan coming up at the Australia show. But AJ pops up and he looks confused, and Samoa Joe's enraged. Which at first I just thought it was hey, I had it in my hands and this fucker outsmarted me, and god damn it, I lost again. But no, he is raising his arm. The announcers announced AJ Styles as the winner, which is what we all saw. And Samoa Joe was going off. He was running by the announce table, and he mentions he tapped. Now, keep in mind, this is maybe a good 30 to 45 seconds after the match. We have not seen him replay the back of Joe's statement, but the fact that he's saying it now, it's like, okay, we should be seeing a replay right now. And Joe walks away from the table. We're still seeing replays of the exact same angle we saw, which is basically, let me try to think here. This would have been AJ Styles' left side. So we're not seeing the right side, which would have been his free-handed tap. We're not seeing this angle yet. And it almost goes a full minute before we finally get the angle. And as the ref counts 1, the ref counts 2, AJ Styles is tapping, then the 3 count. AJ appears to be almost choked unconscious, so that explains his reaction to being announced as the winner. Samoa Joe has every right to be pissed, and I love the finish. I thought the finish was cool. I've heard complaints that, AJ Styles has been involved in too many controversials or stupid finishes. Don't care. I still like it. I thought the SummerSlam finish was great also. The only nitpick I have with it is just basically the fact that it took us so long to get that replay, but it doesn't take away from my rating of the match. I still thought the match was, I'm gonna end up on great. It was a great match. It's just that crowd at the beginning really kind of took away from it. The match was very, 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 very solid. I love this match. The feud will continue. I hope it has to end now. And we will get to kind of a problem I had with the second part of this match as we continue. So up next, we got the mixed tag team match, Maurice and The Miz versus Brie Bella and Daniel Bryan. Again, this is another match I missed. I think I missed all but really the finish. I've heard people say this was a fun match. This match was a lot of fun to watch. It was a good match. So I'm going to reserve my match rating for this. I will say that Maurice getting the pin on Brie Bella was a little shocking to me. I thought with the way you structured this feud, I said this at the very beginning of the year, Miz was going to beat Daniel Bryan on pay-per-view. The fact that they did it at SummerSlam speaks a lot to what they think of The Miz more than it speaks to what they think of Daniel Bryan. So you get that pin there. The next step is if you're doing one of the women, and you figured it would be Brie Bella. And I tell you why. Brie gets this win. It's something she can then, the next time she's with Nikki, there's something to talk about with that Brie got to win. And then unless you're gonna do another match with Brie and Maurice, Brie has no chance of ever getting revenge as the babyface. There's no shot of her getting revenge. Even if there's a match between, or even when we had the match between Daniel Bryan and The Miz, and Maurice gets involved and Brie punches her in the face, you still got pinned by Maurice. So to me, I thought that was a little confusing. I understand now that you're building it up that Daniel Bryan can't beat The Miz, and so now we're getting this match in Australia where the winner goes on to be the number one contender for the WWE Championship. But to me, it's still weird booking because Brie will not get that revenge on Maurice unless they have another match, which I don't need to see those two one-on-one with each other. So this would have been perfect just to get it done here and there and to give Daniel Bryan some momentum. He's happy now, and now his focus is on beating The Miz and becoming the number one contender. That's the only complaint I had with the match itself, that from what or the booking of the match from what I saw. So we go backstage, and Samoa Joe is screaming at a ref, and Paige walks up, and Joe says, "You saw it," and Paige says, "I agree with you." And so Joe wants his rematch. He's expecting to have it Tuesday here in Tulsa, which is something else I'll get to. Paige says, "No, it won't be that soon. We've got fucking pay-per-views and network subscriptions to sell, damn it. And so we're going to do this in Melbourne, Australia at the Super Showdown." Joe's enraged and says, "If I have to wait this long, then I want no disqualifications, no countout. There must be a winner," which is weird because the match he just had, the match wasn't, there was no DQ to possibly stop the match. There was no countout that was a result of this finish. And there was a fucking winner. The referee counted your shoulders down, albeit AJ did tap. But this exact same finish could happen again in the match in Australia. So, fucking why? Like, as much as I love the finish, if this was the story you were going to tell later, this makes no sense at all. None. It's like, how and why are we, huh? Like, if I'm Paige and I see this match happen the way it did, when Joe was rattling off, "Why do I have to wait to Melbourne, Australia for this match?" And Paige is agreeing with him and says, "Yeah, the finish, yeah, you won, you won. You know, you should have won. You know, you should have won. You should have won. Yeah, it's messed up. You gotta do it again." The first thing I'm thinking is, okay, so now this is the time for an I Quit match or a last man standing match, which you probably won't do because you just did one. So I'm thinking, cool, we are going to get an I Quit match. Perfect. That way, instead of the referee not doing his job and basically fucking up this finish for Joe, Joe has now the opportunity to win the title and getting AJ Styles to say, "I quit." Perfect. Now you have to have a winner. But no. Now we're going to get a no DQ, no disqualification. But it's just... like, who comes up with this shit? Up next, we got the Raw Women's Championship match between Ronda Rousey and Alexa Bliss. Ronda and this fucking makeup, I was really hesitant to talk about it on the last show because I didn't want to come across as being aesthetic, talking about aesthetics when it comes to women, because it was a little heat at that time. But this makeup shit got to go. I'm fucking done with it, man. No! Stop! And we got Alicia Fox out here, basically wearing something from Rihanna's trash bin. Okay, let me not talk about Alicia Fox. Let's talk about the match itself. So the story of the match is Ronda's beating the shit out of Alexa until her ribs hurt, and she's selling great. Ronda was good in it. Was very good in this match. Selling was great. Facial expressions were great. When she fired back up, it was great. All that was great. Alexa was pretty good. The match overall was a good match. We just saw Ronda beat the shit out of Alexa a couple of weeks ago. And if the story you wanted to tell, how to make this believable that Alexa has a chance, was Ronda's ribs were hurt. So to me, you start off the match, you've got gorgeous Mickey standing out there, and the ultimate distractions of Alicia Fox in her outfit. Why not do a distraction before the bell rings and Alexa goes after Ronda's ribs? Just off the bat. Off the bat. To me, then you can tell the story of Ronda's fighting through her rib injury from the beginning, as opposed to there's 2 minutes of just shit happening. And it's like, well, why can't Ronda just go ahead and beat her? She's the baddest woman on the planet. She's fucking UFC Hall of Famer, and she's going toe-to-toe with Alexa for 2. Fuck that! But how you get out of that, how you prolong your match, how you tell a story, how you have Ronda sell, you walked in with a made injury. Just fucking play off the injury from the beginning. You could have had Ronda get attacked on the ramp by all 3 women and selling her ribs and start the match. Just anything like that at all would have probably made a lot of the rest of the match completely believable. That said, Ronda wins with an armbar. It's still a good match, but the reason I'm so upset about this is because this match could have been with anybody. This didn't feel like this is a Ronda match. It almost felt like, well, we gave you guys that really shitty Ronda performance on Monday, so now we're gonna actually come in here and have her do some wrestling to show you that she could, that she can wrestle, which we already knew. But just, I'm not as mad about that as I am the Samoa Joe thing, but that was just, and it bothered me the rest of the match to see that. Just seeing Ronda selling after she could have won at the very beginning. But don't let me, kick a dead horse. Again, the match was good. We then hit this fucking main event. And when I say this fucking main event, you can tell by my voice I'm not happy with this. But what I'm not happy with, was the match itself. The shit we had in the cell, our red cell. This is the perfect form of cell, by the way. So, Roman and Braun have had good matches. It's typically when you got chicanery and fuckery going around. So you put them in a cell and it's like, cool, let's throw a bunch of weapons and they'll beat each other up and do some brawn spots and all that. But they just kind of go back and forth and it doesn't do shit for me at all. So I found myself very bored with the match itself. And then all of a sudden, there's a spear in the corner. Braun kicks out. And Braun and Roman basically get to take a nap for 10 minutes, man. But that ain't the most egregious part. So they're in the ring. They're in the cell. In the middle of the ring. Both down. Dolph and Drew come out. They're trying to get in the cell. Then Dean and Seth come out. And they fight. And they brawl. And for some reason, Dolph climbs the fucking cell just because, we gotta do shit. And we still have Braun and Roman just taking naps, catching a breath, thinking about what they're going to eat after the show. Seth follows Dolph up to the top of the cell. Then Drew and Dean climb to the top of the cell. And we get kendo stick spots, we get some punching, get the dirty deeds. And then Dolph just climbs down the cell. And Seth climbs down the cell too, and then they both go through tables, which is cool. And Dean and Drew are just on top of the cell, and we got the other 2 laid out, but Dean and Drew are just up there. And then Brock comes out, and it's like, yay, fuckery, and Braun is looking smaller because he's getting ready to fight, and all that shit. And he kicks the door open, which was fucking cool. And then he proceeds to beat the shit out of 2 guys who were already laid out for the last 10 minutes. And then he hits an F5 on Braun. He hits an F5 on Roman and threw him on top of Braun. And all this is great. Let me not downplay it. Everything about Brock coming out was great. And then that happened, and the fans are into it, and chanting one more time, and Suplex City. And then the match ends. And it's, okay, cool. And then I'm thinking, fucking Drew and Dean are still on top of the cell. Why is Dean still on top of the cell? Like Drew took he took a move, so he's laid out, but Dean's just chilling, and like no one's attending to Seth and Dolph, and the match is over in a Hell in a Cell where you know it's supposed to be a blow off, but it wasn't. It was the first match because we got to book shit. And we have a pay-per-view called Hell in a Cell, so, I mean, our main event's got to be in a Hell in a Cell. And then, like, match is over. And when the show went off the air, I thought, yeah, okay. Like, Brock's here. I thought that part of it was cool. You could have did something where, I don't know, just something where we got some type of fit. I'm not mad that there wasn't a finish. Let me put it this way. I'm not mad at that. Some people are very mad about that. I'm not mad about that. You told the story that Brock comes in now, and it's actually a really good story. Brock never got his rematch. Paul Heyman the next night told Kurt Angle, hey, we want this rematch at Hell in a Cell. Kurt, for no real reason, says no, and then doesn't give a timetable for the long reigning champion to get his fucking automatic rematch clause. So that makes sense for Brock to come out and fuck shit up. Completely makes sense. But everything before that, and then the fact that there's no finish, is fucking weird, man. Like, y'all overthink this shit way too much sometimes. Now, you can have Brock come out and do death and destruction. And actually, you could have had Roman just pin Braun. And you could have done some stuff where you have all this stuff going around with all these guys. And you got Seth and Dolph go through the table. Dean and Drew come down from the cell just because they do. And you could have done something where fucking Drew is just yanking at this door, trying to get this door off. Dean goes to hit him. Braun's distracted off that. Roman gets his Superman punch spear, gets the pin. Just kind of awesome fluke shit. You can go with that. Then Brock comes down and he lays out Dean, he lays out Drew, and then he kicks the door in and lays out everybody else. And I think, yeah, the fans would have still been happy with that. You got to finish. Whatever Braun loses, I mean, I get that, but you have a reason to continue this feud if you want to. You don't even necessarily need to continue the feud because you've already booked the feud to continue with the fucking triple. The more I'm talking about this, the angrier I'm getting. Again, I like this show. I enjoyed this show. So let me not build myself into a stupor with this stuff. I enjoyed the show. Definitely go watch it. And definitely after the show, I watched the Mick Foley 20 Years in Hell special the network had. It's basically Mick doing kind of a small stand-up special about Hell in a Cell and what has been for his career. This was so good. Please go watch this. I laughed. The ending had me in tears. I laughed again. Mick is so good, and this was so well done. Please go watch this. And that'll do it for Hell in a Cell. Now, I'm going to get out of here on two things. One, Conor McGregor's fight's coming up, so I'm going to wrap up my MMA coverage here a little bit in the next couple of weeks. But the big story I wanted to talk about happened over a couple weeks ago. UFC 228. The co-main event was to be Nicco Montana versus Valentina Shevchenko. Now, for those of you who only listen to me when I only know about MMA when Conor or Ronda or when I talk about it, UFC created a new UFC Women's Flyweight Championship. Jesus, this would have been what was she giving about? She's giving about November of 2017. Nicco won the tough tournament and was crowned the champion. And then she had some type of injury, like a foot or something, and then she had tonsillitis. And I think tonsillitis was back in May. And so originally, I believe this fight was agreed to fight in May before Nicco had that happen. And pretty much from that point on, Valentina told the world this fight was not happening because Nicco is constantly pulling out of this fight. And then this fight gets announced. We do some press conferences. We do things like that. We do photo shoots. When we get a fight announced, it's on the card. They start promoting the card, and I'm going, okay, we're gonna hit the fight. Valentina's gonna blitz through her. And I was even trying to convince people that maybe Nicco had a chance. We weren't giving her credit, but we all felt Valentina was gonna fucking run right through her and be the champion of the division that everyone thought she should be champion of from the very beginning. The Vegas odds put Valentina as the challenger, as the biggest favorite probably the biggest favorite in a title match ever at this point. That's how much this Death and Destruction everyone thought Valentina was going to bring on Nicco. So a couple of days before the fight, I get a notification, Nicco's in the hospital, fight uncertain. And I said, the fight's not uncertain. This fight's not happening now. And Valentina went everywhere. I told you guys this fight would not happen. I told you she would find a way to pull out. I told you this. And my thinking was, you're 100% right. We all knew what was going to happen. And it's frustrating because, as I said on the show before, as I said in my article about why UFC is a cold product, shit like this is what pisses fans off. We are promoted a fucking fight, and every goddamn card, somebody misses weight, somebody gets an injury, somebody fucking kidney shut down from trying to cut 50 fucking pounds before a fight, and we don't get what we're fucking advertised. It's a running goddamn joke at this point. So that anger is coming out. And then Nicco comes out, and she makes her statement, which I guess this is going to be my worked up podcast. She makes her statement. Why would I agree to have this fight if I didn't plan on fighting? Tremendous point. At the end of the day, Nicco is a UFC competitor. She's an MMA fighter. Okay? She wants to fight. Let's take that. Let's put that in perspective. And then she starts talking more. I told UFC I couldn't fight until October, but they made me fight in September. When the fuck did you know you were going to have this fight? The problems you have and weren't able to fight in this fight is because you're trying to cut too much goddamn weight. So you knew you had this fight coming. I got on Cyborg about this exact thing. Oh, I can't fight this soon. I need another 6 weeks. And in Cyborg's case, it was 2 weeks. What the fuck? Like, they tried to sign this fight in May. You had tonsillitis. Cool. You had surgery. Got it. 3 weeks maybe to recover from that. Now it's time to get into shape. I know they want this fight as soon as possible. Let me get my shit together. Then they announced the fucking fight. You're doing press runs. You're doing countdowns. They're filming you at this point. Why is it that you're trying to cut so much goddamn weight before the fight? And then Nicco's on social media. Oh, well, you fans think I'm scared. She's the one that's scared. No! Valentina showed up ready to whoop your fucking ass. She's been calling yo bitch card for over a year. Saying you won't show up to fight. And then you don't show up to fight. And then to top it off, there's some people out here saying, well, I can't believe the UFC stripped her. I mean, there's been fighters that, haven't fought much longer and they didn't strip them. Get the fuck out of here. This is the first inaugural champion. And she had an excuse why she couldn't fight immediately after. She did cut weight three times on the show. And she had an injury. Got that. They came to her in May, and it was another thing. And they gave her time for that too. A lot of time to recover from that. Something that I was reading stories at the time. Tonsillitis. She may be not able to train and do things for 10 days. That was back in May. We're in September, people. And she was crying that she needed to October for the fight. Back in May. Get the fuck out of here with this. We already got a problem where champions win fights and they're injured in the camp, but they still go out and they perform, and then they want to take some time. I got that, man. They can give you some time. But god damn it, man, like we have way too many fucking interim champions. We've got way too many champions not wanting to fight certain people. We got way too many champions now wanting to go and jump different divisions because Connor did the shit. We've got way too much of this shit. Defend your fucking belts, people. Stop trying to handpick opponents, because guess what? Ain't nobody popping. And before someone says Connor ain't fought in the UFC since 2006 fucking team. Yeah, him and Khabib will get a huge buy rate. Got that. But for 2 years, ain't nobody popping. Ain't nobody bringing in the business. So who the fuck are you to sit there and say, well, I want to fight this person? Fucking fight! Just fight! If you're wanting to bring yourself more money, you know one of the ways you can do that? Going out and destroying motherfuckers. Pop your shit after you get wins. The belt don't mean, hey, now I'm in the money, yo. I get to call the shots. No. Stars. The people that the fans want to see that will spend money on. They call the shots. You're a fucking belt holder. God damn it. This Nicco shit, man. I was beyond pissed about all this shit with Nicco. Unbelievably upset. So she gets stripped of the title. Good. Have Valentina, she'll be ready to go. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to put her, if not the MSG card, at least the card at the end of the year, and she'll get a chance to finally capture the Women's Flyweight Championship. And if you're Nicco, okay, by December you're probably ready too, and they might even go with that fucking fight. I wouldn't. There's no way in hell. There is no way in hell. But I'm interested to see who they match up Valentina with. I would call her the favorite no matter what. There's been people who said Joanna might be the fight they put together. I'd love to see that. But if you're Joanna, you still have a chance at your strawweight championship. And you're right there. I mean, Jessica Andrade's probably got the very next shot. But you don't have to fight again to get your shot there either. So if I'm her, I'm waiting to see what the UFC offers. I wait to see how soon Rose and Jessica Andrade gets put together, and then we go from there. But this Nicco, fuck this Nicco shit. I don't even cover MMA anymore. Like, I haven't been covering it. I haven't got a chance to talk about Tyron Woodley and the fact that I've been saying this since the man won the title. Y'all have no respect for this man, and I don't know why. Yeah, he tries to pop his shit too, but at the end of the day, he still fought Wonderboy. Twice. You know, I felt like he shouldn't have to the second time. I thought he won that fight. He still fought Damian Maia, which he didn't want to fight Damian Maia. He knew Damian Maia met zero jack shit squat in terms of pay-per-view buys. But he was asked to fight Damian Maia. He fought Damian Maia. Darren Till met zero at the box office, and he's fat. But Woodley still fought Darren Till and beat his ass. And so now, Tyron Woodley, who's he's a mainstream celebrity. He's on TMZ all the time. He's in movies. Rappers talk about him. He's making songs. He's got some clout here. And now he's calling himself the greatest welterweight of all time to get interest in him and his fight. And y'all are so fucking, how dare he? He's not in GSP's level. Man, he's popping his shit and trying to get some draws in here. All right? He's trying to get some eyeballs to him. He's trying to make himself a star. I have no problem with that. None. And what reason do you still have to hate on him at this point? He's fighting everyone UFC wants him to fight. He fights everyone who's at the top of the division. He's been asking for GSP or Nick Diaz. Those things aren't happening. And he's still going out there and fighting. So what the fuck is the problem? Let him pop his shit. Anyway, I'm starting to lose my voice. And I got to be at work soon. So I'm going to wrap this up. There's polls all the time on my Facebook, the Common Man Podcast on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter, Common Man Pod, Instagram, Snap, all that good stuff there. I'll have more in the next couple of days. Thank you guys so much for listening. Peace and chicken grease.